I don't think she's out yet. I believe several attempts were made by several people, including the Human Rights Commission and all of that. They were denied entry. So I don't know yet if she's in the hospital. But there were calls for her to be granted some kind of not clemency, but kind of accommodation. Such that even when she leaves the hospital, she should be put on a house arrest. And there are others who are arguing that the law is a law. The law is supposed to be blind. So, what do you think about this, Panther?
Yeah, if anyone knows me, they know that I try to be very principled. And so the notion that I could be gender biased, it's very far-fetched from anything Fanta Kamara or what I stand for. Irrespective of male, female, it is really important for us to hold people accountable who I don't think breaking the law is even the allegation here, but really the violation of the republic, the violation of our people is of the most concern here. You have someone who has had the opportunity to occupy the highest level of public offices. And I mean, from being a first lady to a senator to a vice president, positions that most women only dream of. We talk about having to correct the male to female ratio in the legislative. She's had the opportunity to sit at the table with the most senior senators. She's had the opportunity to ascend beyond that. And my question remains, why would I, number one, why would I want to associate my support with someone just because they're female if there are probable cause that she has broken the law? If there are probable cause that she has violated the everyday people, my brand is very much advocacy for the voiceless, not for the privileged and the elite. So number one, because of that, I would not be advocating for her. Number two, with the probable cause that do exist, and I do employ the judicial system and team to further present additional evidence of her culpability of the crimes that she has been accused of. And if proven guilty beyond all reasonable doubt, she should absolutely face the fullest consequence of the law. There are women, market women, right? Everyday women who are falsely accused. And the way in which they are handled, if that's what the public is pushing back on, or women groups are pushing back on, is far more worse. Where is the outcry? Where is the congregation for that? Where is their support for that everyday woman? Instead, we engage in this elite worship that when one of them are engaged in a crime or caught in a crime, we do everything, we bend over backwards to make sure that they are relieved of the consequences. What does that make us as a people? It is not only insincere, but it makes us look highly unserious. We're very unserious and we are very much untruthful. To think that the law should apply to one person and not the other because she is an elite. My other question would be, why would I advocate for someone when every time I've asked, what does her legacy look like? What has she done for Liberia in the positions that she's held, the public offices that she's held? I'm not talking about some small NGO organization where you're giving out carpet ball and you're giving out bowl bag. You're giving out scholarships. Because if those were considered to be merits, then I've done that. I'm sure Omar Mary Dane Black has done that.
That's right.
I'm talking about someone who has had access to millions of dollars of resources. What significant contribution have you done that stipulates your legacy? Where is it? So everything that has been discussed in terms of the justification around why she should be in the position that she currently is, I'm absolutely sitting back and waiting for all the cards to drop, because this is someone whose hands are not clean. This is not a saint. Look, this person, Jewel Howard Taylor was with Charles when she was very, very young in the early 90s. They got married in 1997 after all those years of being with him during the war as a warlord. So let's just think about that for a moment. The conversation or the association of her and drugs are not far-fetched. Charles Taylor needed drugs to keep the soldiers committing the type of atrocities that they were committing. And she was there as his ride or die, his Bonnie and Clyde, right? Or the Bonnie to his Clyde. So why should we remove her from the accusation or allegation of being engaged with the cartel? It's not far-fetched. Look, in the legal aspect of things, people get convicted based on probable cause. Does the probability exist for this person to have committed this crime? And I say absolutely. Of course, it's going to be left up to the prosecution, right, to provide the full evidence. But when we're speaking in probabilities, the probable cause is there that someone like Jewel Howard Taylor, having been married to a warlord, having been engaged in discussions of drug deals happening to procure drugs for the soldiers minimally, is not far from her character. So I, Fanta Kamara, am not going to join the band of women out there because they're a bunch of sheeps. And sorry to say this, they're a bunch of sheeps to say we're going to stand up for someone based on the fact that she is a female. What about all those people that need you to actually put your resources behind them, who are begging for someone to speak up for them? So that is not me. And if any woman is doing that, they're foolish to do that.
Thank you for that. Mike, Fanta is drawing the line. I think she's indicating to us that she disagrees in the form and manner in which she was arrested. I mean, given the fact that she has attained a certain stature in society, right? I mean, we're not equal. She's been, yeah, a former first lady, a former senator, a former vice president, and so I think I absolutely agree too. I think the way she was taking it could have been handled better. But notwithstanding, she is also arguing that the law is the law. Uh, Whatever the law requires or demands should apply. Now, coming back to the way she was taking in, we have made the point that several people were taken into custody related to this drug incident in manner and fashion way more dignified than the former vice president. I mean, uh, Jamal King, not Peter, the other one, Paul. We
Yeah.
saw Paul in the police station with water bottle in his hand, right, Mike? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, basically. So other people have been taken. Other people may have not even been taken in. I mean, Baggio, who recused himself because of the weight of the evidence that was brought against him. We don't even know if he's being investigated. So there are a lot of us who feel that although we want the law to be applied, but we want everybody to be treated equally. And if the former vice president, especially, even if nobody else was given certain courtesies, they could have handled
My
it better than
network.
that. So Mike, what's your take on this, man?
All right. So I think we're having some issues. She'll be back.
Yeah, I know
Um,
she'll break in a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. For me, so there are several things here, right? And this is not just this does not just apply to the former first lady. Okay. We do not have in Liberia decent correctional facilities. It's overcrowded. It's not sanitary. Every time you put an older person in there, you run a risk. Every single time you do that, and it doesn't matter whether they are prominent or not. You run a risk. But here's where the prominent part comes in. She's not only the former first lady, former first lady, yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
of a former VP. She's also the vice standard bearer so far. for an opposition party.
That's right.
Okay, so when you arrest people like that,
And I think she's still the chair, or John
she's the
Mova is the chair of the
she's the
NPP, right?
political leader
She's the
of
political leader, correct?
she's the political leader of MPP, right? And she is, you could say, the vice standard bearer for CDC.
Yeah.
And when you arrest people like that, it carries a political undertone. So you cannot just handle her like how you handle my Mary from the market. I mean, as much as we preach loyalty, some things just aren't equal. And one of those are, if you arrest my Mary, you put my Mary in South Beach, and my Mary mosquito bite my Mary get malaria, and my Mary go to the hospital, and my Mary pass away. It does not carry the same weight if that happens to Joe Howard Taylor. It does not. When the political leader of a national, opposition party passes away in the custody of the police, it does not carry the same weight. I mean, as much as we preach, equality, we've talked about how the government needs to do more to fast track cases, so the prisons are not overcrowded. We've talked about how the government needs to do more to create decent places for people to stay, and stop mixing convicted criminals with people who are going to court. You put everybody in South Beach. So whether you convicted, you in South Beach. If you've only been charged and you are deemed innocent until proven guilty, right? You still go to South Beach. You mixing criminal with non-criminals, and I mean, if you there and you in South Beach and your case doesn't come for 2 years, Chief, you've been incarcerated for 2 years in South Beach. It's
So,
crazy.
Mike, let me ask you this while you're going on, right? Do you think the powerful and famous in society have figured this out? Because if you remember Priscilla Cooper, I think that's her name. Is a rescue legislator. She was incarcerated along with Fonatikova and the rest of them for the fire incident. I believe she was also taken out and taken to the hospital. I think she had a medical problem. I don't think she ever went back in.
No, she did not. And then the charges against her were dropped at that
Exactly.
point.
So I mean, I'm not implying anything here. I know, I understand the vice president. I understand she has some medical issues going on, but you think the sanitary condition, and all of that, I mean, she could have been sick, but you think she could have also played this off just to be taken out?
If I'm saying, I will play it off. We're going to South Beach. I beg you, we're going to South Beach. I will Allah sick. And out of fear, because the government is responding out of fear.
Yeah.
Right? If she's sick and you do not provide medical care for her, it's going to happen to that woman?
Of course. I mean, my party members, Sandra Dazzle Johnson and others have already come out and told the government, even if they haven't to hold it on your hands.
The entire Boncate, the entire Pele,
No.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Padmore. Not the entire Boncate.
But how should I word this?
Her family.
No. In more than family.
Okay.
From the Boncate, Pele.
I think most of the political leaders from Boncate, Mike.
Yes.
I mean, Marvin Cole is on record.
Yes.
Sandro Johnson is on record.
They wrote a letter and they signed it.
But I haven't heard from Senator Moy yet. So, this is going on, Mike, and now in the midst of all this, I know we'll go back to Fanta. The VPs are in the hospital. They are calls to show mercy, but she has come out. Her office has come out. I mean, with a fiery statement, and I mean, I guess they have caught on that the government is also nervous about this. I mean, they came out with a very fiery statement. Now they're saying the evidence that they say they have may have been generated through AI and all of this, and so now what is this government going to do? I mean, already it looks like they are folding a little bit on this case.
You see, I think the government jumped the gun. I think they panicked when they heard that she was traveling. I think they panicked, because they had a sealed indictment. That
Right.
means that it could have been weeks ago that they did it. But they were waiting for more evidence before they could make such an arrest. And then when they found out that she was traveling, they kind of
Right.
panicked, because
Yeah.
because they didn't even arrest her. They invited her to the police station, right?
Right.
And then they insisted when she said, "No, I'm going to my house." Since it's an invite, I'm going to my house. They said, "No, we're insisting that you come." At that point, it was no longer an invite, right?
No, it was no
Yeah, it
longer.
was
It
no
was,
longer an invite.
it was an
Yeah.
arrest.
So I think they kind of bundled it a little bit, and so now they're a little nervous because as a parent, your child going, oh, you say, my man, when you're not back in the house by 10 o'clock, lock him and do. The main can't 10 o'clock, you let it do. Now you uphold that worrying what your son air. That the whole
Right. Exactly.
I don't want to do that. So but
I
let's
think
take it away.
so find out that you have the last one. It's almost like the referee on the field, right? Maybe they give a yellow card for a very minor offense, and they realize now they made a mistake. So now they're overcompensating, right? So now there's a real penalty that should have, but now they're saying, well, the team we already went heavy-handed. So I find that like, if you were, let's just for the sake of it, you were the IG of the Republic of Liberia, police, inspector general, how would you have handled this arrest? I'm not talking about the prosecution, or just the way she was arrested. Mike is giving, some of the stuff that's out there that, or they may have had a CO, warrant for her, and they could have probably found other means instead of, it was raining that day and all of that. And they forcibly tried to enter her car and all of that. This woman has an EPS, I think 1 or 2 assigned to, I mean, it just really raises a whole lot of competence and policing and all of this. How would you have handled this?
First of all, am I audible? Because I was.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Whenever I speak, my disposition is that of the common man. I have made this very, very clear. I think the elites have done a world of problem, have brought a world of problem upon the Liberian people and the common folk. I don't think, I think both sides are trying to politicize this, right? The oppositions are trying to politicize this. The Unity Party is trying to politicize this, and I made a post the last time on my Facebook. When 2 elephants fight, what suffers is the grass. Liberia is suffering right now. Liberia is being suffocated. Liberia is absolutely bleeding. The reason for that is rather than focusing on the real problem at hand here, which is that we have been infested with drugs that could not have happened without the facilitation of these elites. I don't remove her from it, just how I don't remove Ellen from it, just how I don't remove Waka from it, just how I don't remove our security apparatus from it, just how I do not remove our legislative from it, just how I do not remove our judicial system from the facilitation and orchestration of drugs activities in Liberia. They're all culpable. It's just a matter of where the hard evidence are. And at the end of this, where all of them are going to lie. But she is not completely innocent. And so if we want to focus on the way in which she was arrested, I quite don't care for it. Because once again, everyday people are arrested in a much worse fashion. A much worse fashion. I don't associate any type of value to the life of a former first lady to be more valuable than that of a man married in Warasa. And I'm not sorry about that. Because at the end of the day, the man marrieds are in the majority. And they are the ones who are suffering. I don't feel sorry for Jewel Howard Taylor or any other elite who has found themselves in this position. They have been responsible for the bureaucracy, the facilitation of not just drugs activity, but the illicit financial flows. The illicit financial flows, among other illicit activities that Liberia is grappling with currently. They're responsible for it. They failed as leaders. They failed as public servants. This woman has made millions of dollars out of Liberia. Her one term as senator alone. Why the common man, they have the audacity to pay the police officer $100 as a seen public servant, or the immigration $100 as a public servant, while she has made millions. What does she have to show for it? I do not, again, feel any sympathy for her or anyone of her caliber. They're all culpable. Look, I did a whole research, really digging deep into how long Liberia post-war has been dealing with this whole drug problem, drug trafficking. In fact, at the end of my research, I deemed Liberia a narco state. We are occupied. That's what the conversation should be. It really shouldn't be about how Dua Hawatala was arrested, because at the end of the day, 50% of Liberians are addicted to drugs. Over 2 million. That's the number from our international partners, independent bodies, who have done studies to determine that 50% of Liberians are on drugs. That's where my mind is. How did we get there? As a country of just little over 5 million, how is it over 2 million of our people are abusing illicit drugs? 30% of high school students, your children, your grandchildren are probably taking drugs. Their friends are taking drugs. 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 12-year-old, 13 years old, 18 years old. That's the conversation. Is this whole drug epidemic is not about which elite gets arrested and how they get arrested. It's about how do we ensure that the people who are accountable are held accountable, regardless of the fashion. Look, as a Bon Countian, because my mother is from Bon County, my grandfather has a huge farm, the Eddie Kamara farm in Bon County.
Do you also yourself bungies? I think.
As a bungie, you know, who is very familiar with Bon County. We are not protesting for Dua Hawatala. Trust me, we're not. My Pelasa is not going to hold no placard and be on the street for Dua Hawatala. She's not doing nothing for Bon County. I beg you. We are concerned about the people of Liberia. Our my Pele internet and Ongo, where every day they have to still go on the farm before they can find their daily bread. Even fetching drinking water, even the bridges are non-existent. Your CMC just had to do a bridge for Bon County. Did you not? Did Dua Hawatala not see that bridge and that problem? Does she not understand how often pregnant women, as a woman, pregnant women, pregnant Bongis or Bon Countian women die trying to cross little rivers to go and deliver and give birth? How has Dua Hawatala solved the problems of the people of Bon County? Who even talking about the people of Liberia, the women of Liberia? Before we tie our lapa and stand behind any woman, we can beat our chest and say, yes, she not do the one for us. What has Dua Hawatala done for the women of Liberia and the women of Bon County? You don't make me get into her story, I beg you. So no, I don't shed a tear for her. I don't care about how she was arrested. I care about ridding our country of this drug infestation. Whoever they nail for that on the head, let it catch it, including Joseph Burka and his entire family. His son is culpable. He should be arrested as well. This is not politics.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I said I'm going to have the last word, but let me quickly.
No
I want to talk to you quickly. You know about the. I mean, I agree. I think the government flinched. So, but the NPP. You know, and apparently this thing is exposing the deep fissure in the NPP. I think they put out a statement first under the signature of Chairman Mulba. But then it looks like there is another NPP, because you know the NPP. I think one side of it supports the rescue team,
Yeah.
and the other side doesn't. So that's that. And but then the former president, to whom she has been serving as vice president, you know, he's in Nigeria, right? He's over there. I think he's a special guest of the Bar Association, and there are others who really believe that, you know, something of this magnitude should have probably brought him home to help and manage, you know, the opposition, of which he's a member. So, do you think that the support he's getting from both the CDC and the NPP, you think it reaches the level that was anticipated, the kind of support that they thought she was going to get behind?
Well, I think it's a tricky situation because one, you can be calling for the elimination of drugs, and then when they arrest somebody, then you advocate for the person in that manner. What
Right.
you can advocate for is the rule of law. You can advocate for her to be treated with humanity. You can advocate for a swift conclusion to it. Those things you can argue, you can advocate for. I was very shocked when they started talking about doing a protest or a march. I was shocked that they started talking about it because I don't know if you know, but George Weah has never participated in a march before.
No, I don't think so.
No, he's never. It's always been the lower people, Akaras Great, Mobile Malu, then that do that stuff. He's never done that. So I was kind of shocked when they started talking having that kind of conversation. But I'm not surprised today that he's in Nigeria. It kind of resembles the George Weah that we know. And so is she getting the full from CDC? No, I don't think so, and I don't expect her to get it. As for her own party, no, there is not a secret that that the NPP is divided. Senator Bani has his faction, and former First Lady, former VP Joel Taylor has her faction.
Right.
Even though they have said they have come together, politics. But I don't believe she's going to get that full support from her party. I think some people will see it as an opportunity to knock her off the pedestal,
Right.
and erect somebody else, and she'll have to fight for that place again.
Unfortunately, yes, I think
It's
you're right.
politics.
Look at that. She not even have complete coordination, complete support from her party. Then you say protest. Who will you protest for her? I beg you, yeah.
All right, Elio, welcome on set. I'm sure you've seen the topic. We're getting ready to move on to the second, but we're still discussing the manner and form in which the VP was taken in, and of course the charges that have been levied against her. I believe she's currently in the hospital, and there are those who are calling for her to, once she gets out of the hospital, to be giving house arrest instead of being taken to South Beach as the case proceeds. Well, let's hear what you say about that.
But you didn't notice something. You didn't see me smiling when Piggy Marco saw me. The ball
Oh,
had dropped.
no, you smiling there. I thought you were crying. I didn't know
The ball had just dropped. Ooh, I said, well, I'm feeling bad for him. Not a bit more you're making you see me a whole picture. But listen,
I added you to the platform, Jenna. Just so you know.
thanks for welcoming me, Mr. Nangbe. Good to be on here, and it is a fresh breath for me to see a female on here. Fanta Fufana. I see her name. Never interacted with her before. And
you getting you the only Kamara. You coming to me for fun and me? I don't understand. Like how?
Yeah, the double speak there. He said he's happy to see you, but he didn't want you to share the same.
Fana Kamara, welcome to the show. Welcome to On Point. Yeah. So at least we got one level head here. I heard her speaking. She's trying to keep it balanced, not just politicians who are trying to push one government under the bus, knowing that they too cannot do anything better. But anyway, to your question, Mr. Nangbe, look, that woman there, it doesn't matter how long that woman stay in our hospital. They can fix sickness. They can fix. That will be fixing it. She can fix it for that to the end. Yeah. Waiting for that woman. Once she's steady on her feet, that's all be straight. Nobody is putting her under house arrest. She's going to South Beach. If South Beach is that bad, well, she is responsible. She was deputy bank governor in Monrovia at that time. She was not accountable, answerable to anybody because Charles sent her there. So she made some money. She should have made recommendation at that time. She was first lady. Other people's children were going in there when she had her baby boy, unfortunately, who recently passed. I know that came when he was in cathedral. She became senator twice for Bon County. She made no recommendation for the Monrovia Central Prison to be renovated or even upgraded. She did absolutely nothing. Other people went in there, including deputy bank governors and others from the Madam Elegance.
Let me ask you this. Is suppose while she's in the hospital, the doctor recommend that she be taken overseas for treatment. What do you think the government should do?
Well, too bad. It's not going to happen.
Oh,
Okay? So whatever the doctor can recommend, let him recommend it. If it means that we'll input a doctor to Liberia, a specialist that has to do with her particular situation, that will be done. But if anybody is thinking that Joe Howard is going to get a preferred treatment, a vice presidential treatment, you're lying. She's going to be treated as a suspected criminal. And she's going to be held by the government. And the police is only doing this at this particular point in time just to get their hands off of this thing, because the only way the police is free is to actually send her off to the Temple of Justice. Once she's over there, the police is clear. They ain't got nothing to do with it again. So that's what the police is working hard, get her out of that place. She keep wasting our time, but we're waiting for her. We'll call it Nangba Nali. We'll call it Nangba Nali in Lopa. You know what that means? Is it made in China?
Lofa like that. But wait, man. Look, let me just say one thing here. And this is what I love about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything we do, we set precedent. I would love this government to send Joa Howard Taylor to South Beach. Because when we move in 2029 and we start putting it in South Beach, none of them will be able to say a thing about it.
When you say what you talk about? ANC?
You will know when the time comes.
What do you think? What do you think about CMC? All right. But listen, before we transition to the next topic, talking about transition with all pun intended, I think the CDC is mourning one of the stalwarts. I was shocked this morning when I saw the announcement. The former superintendent, and I believe the chairman for Bond. I'm sorry, Basso County, Basso, John J. Bakpe, I think that's his name. So sympathies to the CDC. Apparently, this was sudden; they didn't see it coming, but they lost one of theirs. Sympathies to the CDC. Fanta, I'll come back to you. Look, I'll be honest, as I'm putting it to you, I am one of those who believe at this moment the president should look to somebody else and not the IG. I think even if he's not being compromised, I think he has become controversial with everything that's happening around him. I mean, his closest buddies, from Waddell Queer, to Jimmy Bola Dean, all of these people are being accused. Some of them the president has already fired, and yet he remains the last man standing. And now Martin Colley is coming out with all of this information, naming more names. Yeah, Martin Colley, but Martin Colley's investigation has exposed some things that have come to be true in this particular investigation. So do you think IG Coleman is still should be the lead on this drug investigation, or should he recuse himself?
First, I thought there was someone else who was appointed as the lead. If not,
no, you're right. The president had given this thing. You're very right. He had given it to the Security Council, which I think is head by the Justice Minister. But somehow, Gregory Coleman is still, inserting himself as the lead on this.
So then, here is what that says, right? Let's just play devil advocate. Say there is no hard evidence on Gregory Coleman, as the appearance of a conflict of interest suggests that the investigation could be compromised. If only that, for the integrity of the entity, he should recuse himself, at least operationally, as the head of this investigation. Because nothing that he could produce that will gain the public support, or the public will support and trust fully with all of these allegations surrounding him. Now, that's the sensible analysis. We know that Gregory Coleman's name has come up. The uncensored analysis is that we know Gregory Coleman's name has come up way too many times. From the transportation deal, where they ousted nearly hundreds of transport ministry employees, to other illicit deals in Liberia. Time and time again, he's been asked Why is that? And he's giving no real responses or any legitimate responses. His character is very much tainted at this point. Why does the president keep him around when the president has fired, relieved other ministers in his cabinet of a lesser crime or accusation? I gave the example the last time. Minister of Lands and Mines simply saying that the foreign nationals are taking over our minerals. The president fired him. Right? I'm sure you guys can list a few more. Why?
Minister of Commerce.
Exactly. They fired him. Right? Why is it that with all of these allegations around Gary Coleman, the president has refused to fire him? I'll tell you why, right? From my uncensored analysis and from my extensive research that I've done. Look, the drug epidemic in Liberia spans nearly 2 decades from Ellen's first term. Gregory Coleman is an old player, right? He's been around all of the old players who acts as bureaucrats, facilitators when it comes to illicit activities in Liberia. During Ellen's first term, there were hundreds of millions of dollars worth of drug bust. There was a Ghanaian ship that was caught, or a ship that was caught on the ocean with nearly like almost $1 billion worth of drugs. He was around that, right? Operation Relentless came around where the engagement was so huge. Her son was involved as head of the NSA. They brought him in as an agent. How do they? Just sidestep quickly. How often do the DEA bring in people as agents, right? Or as insiders? Or why do they do it? They do it when that person has been caught with their hands in the cookie jar, allegedly. But Sirleaf Hen was caught in the cookie jar, so the DEA had to bring him in as an informed agent. Operation Relentless went on where they arrested a whole bunch of people, and that case was trial in the New York Southern District.
Yes, Southern District.
First term. So we now are let's just do the timeline. This is 05, 06, 07, 08. You move on to Ellen's second term. Drug bust continued. Gregory Coleman was around, still in the security apparatus. You need security, high-level security agents to facilitate the type of drugs. We're talking about tons and tons and tons through a very small country like Liberia. Fast forward, it continued. So the reason why, and Blackout has also been around, the reason why Blackout will not fire Gregory Coleman, even if all these allegations are true, is because Gregory will blow the lid off of their entire secret. It will come crashing down if he was to fire him. Because tell us why you haven't done that. That could be the only reason why, because he is a high-level security official who knows where the bodies are buried.
Right? I mean, Fanta, I read some of the pieces you wrote, and I went and looked at the Southern District of New York, and this is right during Ellen time. They had to bring some of these people up to New York, to be, prosecuted. But coming back locally, right? Look, I think 2 weeks or so ago, the news came out that the cartel were the ones who actually were paying for the Wi-Fi at the police station, right? And then they started splitting hairs, talking about, it wasn't given to Gregory Coleman, it was given to the police station. But tell me, over here, the webmaster, they know whatever you're doing on your computer.
Yeah.
I've had this in my classroom where the webmaster will call me and say, this student is on an inappropriate website, because they can see whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. If the cartel is paying for the Wi-Fi, don't there chances that they have an eye into whatever the police is doing, and that in itself is sufficient, to have Gregory recuse himself. But he's on now. They're talking about vehicles and all of that. It's because of the same vehicle that Biago recused himself. The same vehicle business is being and Martin Colley is saying he has even on the justice minister. So do we really believe that IG Coleman is still credible enough to be even a part of this investigation?
Our security system is compromised. Our I will go as far as to say our army is even compromised. We know that there's been both police officers, high level senior police officers, as well as immigration officers. We know that the NSA hands are also in the cookie jar. We know that the army will have to be required when you talk about moving the level of drugs that have moved to Liberia. I'm telling you, this thing, we will, like, I think it's Rodney Sear, like, who said this. If he were to release like a name, like we would not have a country. We will not have a country. It will be a freaking bloodbath because it is this deep. It's this drug thing it spans post-war, the last 20 years that when we're supposed to have this peaceful nation. All of their hands are in the cookie jar. Just look at the players who have been around. Just look at them. They're all the same.
Fanta.
Ali, I was going to come to you after Michael. Ali, I will come to you. Mike, I mean, to find that point, the president brought in Johnson, Princey Johnson, I believe. And a lot of people who know him, they say he's a very good man, he's a decent man, but he's working in an ocean, a rotten ocean, that is infected with all the mess you can imagine. How do we expect him to be effective? And he's been there, I think 2 weeks now or so, but yeah, Gregory Coleman still seem to be running things. So the same question for you is IG Coleman still credible enough to be anywhere near, let alone lead this investigation?
I don't think so. This thing will be something as simple as the president just setting up like what he did before, right? A special investigative arm to go ahead and handle this. But I don't know if you saw the video. The president has come out and he has reaffirmed his support for IG Coleman. This is not the first time he's done it. I don't know if you watched that president before. Every time people close to him scrutinize in public, he finds a way to show support for them. You either visit their offices or have a program like this, invite them there and say something publicly. So the president has made his mark. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what I think, what other people think. Yeah. Somebody convinced the president that it is safe for him to come out in the midst of this and lend his support to IG Coleman. So that's what we are. Yeah. We'll see what they have. We'll see what they have. I will let Ali speak. Yeah,
Mr. Kamara, do you think it was prudent for the president to double down on the IG and declare a vote of confidence? I think the EPA director also came out last night and the same. Do you think Mr. Coleman still has the credibility to continue to associate with this investigation?
I will touch that, but let me lay some premise. When the last LDA boss took over with his team, an assessment was made.
You mean Biago?
Biago, yes. 20%, around 20% of our youthful population were either addicted to drug or had access to drug. Even though the national average is by far less than that. However, since he took over with Gregory Coleman's recommendation, the population of youth in drug has not increased. And the reason why that is the case was because Gregory teamed up with him in many instances. Now, the question you ask,
do you have the stats to support that claim?
But go on the internet, right there, LDA and the United Nations. It's written there.
I didn't find it. Could you be kind to put it in the chat room for us?
I will find it and put it in the chat room for you. I don't know how you can find. I don't know what kind of internet you're using. Maybe you're using
not there, but say you saw it. Go ahead. When you find it, please put it in the chat room.
Ask Google what is the drug infestation rate in Liberia. They will tell you. Anyway, so Gregory Coleman is well suited for this position. It is through Gregory Coleman's instrumentality that we were able to twist those guys. We're talking about a $317 million worth of drug. As we speak to you through Gregory Coleman, and the president has sufficient classified information on his desk that through Gregory Coleman, the drug cartel is being disassembled. So there are lots of stuff that Sam Gay knows that me and you both don't know. If Sam Gay comes out and says Gregory is the man, I know once you have on your opposition cap, you'll say, oh, Sam Gay and Gregory Coleman, they're part of the drug cartel. That's how y'all talk. JMB does not perform on the basis of public perception, okay, or opposition propaganda. JMB operates based on the evidence, the solid evidence. He is the president of the Republic of Liberia and not the head of podcast host. You need to recognize that. If Joseph Burger would just run his administration, deal with people based on what everybody on social media hears, if Joseph Burger go do this, he just goes and do that, he'll be a buffoon. And you will call him a buffoon. You know, a certified bona fide buffoon. But he's not that kind of man. He's meticulous, he's articulate, and it takes his time and make decisions. Sometimes the decision may be wrong, but that is all part of being a human being. But most times, Joseph Boakai makes the right decision. Joseph Boakai would not keep Gregory Coleman if he was convinced that Gregory Coleman was compromised. I don't know, that word has been overstretched. Gregory is compromised. Where is the evidence?
Well, let me give you some of the evidence.
Now, one more thing. No, wait for me. One more thing. Wait for me. You say again on this big platform that a modem or internet service from how you call it thing, Elon Musk was given to the police department.
Starlink.
That is Starlink. That could not be further from the truth. Because
no, it's true.
Listen to me. The Liberian National Police do not use Starlink. That's the first thing. They do not use Starlink. Their internet comes from LTA. And that is a fact. It is established. No matter how you twist this, you can't win it. You can't just say, oh, they made a road, therefore Joseph Burger say, okay, they made a road. That's not how he works.
Okay, you were talking about evidence. Johnny Bolladin, right? When these foreign nationals were taken in, the IG, they accuse him of taking $10,000 to provide comfort for these people. You remember that story?
The man who took the $10,000 already confessed. That's why he was removed.
He confessed to giving some of it to Gregory Coleman. Don't you know that? No, I'm serious. He said he gave $10,000 to Gregory Coleman. Gregory Coleman gave him about $2,000. And Coleman had no refuted.
You know what? We have not heard that, not in the circle of the government. I don't know where you got that information from. But by the time he goes for his adjudication, we will hear all of the evidences. At that time, I'm willing to stand for or stand against Gregory, but I don't go by public speculations.
Okay. Let's segue into our third topic, which is
you segue into the third topic. Mr. Kamara mentioned that the drug rate epidemic in Liberia is on the decline with the leadership of Gregory Coleman and the entire team. Is that what I heard? I just want to confirm.
It is on the consumption of drug rate in Liberia is on the decline, and go in the streets of Monrovia, you will notice that.
No, that is a bold-faced a misrepresentation. Mr. Kamara, that's a bold-faced misrepresentation.
Okay.
Look, I asked Gregory Coleman this when the case of the sodomy, with the first case of when the sodomy case first occurred with the young boy and the NSA, Peter Bonjala. I asked him, why is it in my research I've uncovered that all of our international partners, from our Chinese partners to our American partners, our US partners, every year they do their security report where they list the crimes in a particular country and determine which crime is most prevalent in that country. when that case came up and I was asking him directly, the numbers I came across from the U.S. security team was that rape, sexual violence, especially against children, are the number one crime, the most violent crime in Liberia. Not murder, not theft, not someone steal your car, someone steal your sugar, someone don't wear your things. But the molestation, the sexual violation and molestation of children, per the United States Security Report, is the number one violent crime in Liberia. He pushed back and said, oh, no, that cannot be. And I provided him with the source. I give him the exact report. And he said, look, I'm going to publish the crime. We're, in fact, working on a crime data that's going to produce live feeds of crimes in Liberia. That number is far-fetched. I'm fast forwarding now to this, and let's just say you never did. I'm fast forwarding now to this conversation with you, where you have the likes of BBC, you have DW, you have Al Jazeera has done extensive research and documentaries on the increase in the illicit consumption of drugs, the illicit consumption of substance in Liberia, in the region, in Sierra Leone, in Guinea. The numbers are devastating. Liberia number, in fact, uses of kush that's made from fentanyl and formaldehyde, the chemical they use to make dead bodies. The uses amongst Liberia and Liberian youth are increasing. I'm happy to reference you to those documentaries so you can watch them for yourself.
80%, Fanta. I just didn't want to argue 80% increase.
If I have the ability to maybe share my screen, if I had the ability to share my screen, I can share my screen with you. And this is reports that are coming off this year, this month, and you're sitting there, right, fooling the people, presenting this narrative, and it makes me question your intention. Again, when we come to talk about issues impacting Liberia, we are so selfish. We don't think about Liberia. We think about our political affiliations. When Liberians are truly dying from the issues that we're discussing, so can we at least prioritize that as citizens to speak honestly about these things? It doesn't help anyone for you to misrepresent that number because it is right there. We may not have the resources to do the level of investigation, of research, the meticulous level of research that the likes of BBC or DW or Al Jazeera has access to. But what we can do is use our little intellect to access those research. And so when we present those numbers, and then you come and you say, oh, the drug consumption is actually on the downward spiral. Who are you fooling? Who are you trying to convince? Because that narrative is very false. Let's move away from that. I'm sure there are people in your family who are using drugs, who are abusing drugs, whether you want to admit it or not. This thing is not selective. It's not based on who live in Single or who live in Black Gina or who live in Johnsonville or who live in Belayala. It's not selective. It is infecting our generations, infecting our people. In generations to come, if we don't resolve it today, we're not going to have a generation to turn over anything to. So what are you fighting for? What is your intent? Is it Liberia or is the Unity Party?
Thank you, Fanta.
Let me give the 10 seconds, please.
Yeah, we're also waiting for your evidence, but I know.
Let me come to 10 seconds. You are an opposition host, so I expect you to come up with 80%. I understand the compassion and everything, but my analysis are not based on compassion. They're based on the facts. Okay? LDEA reported this. And I'd rather listen to LDEA than listen to Al Jazeera.
Here is LDEA
Okay.
right here. 1.5 million from LDEA right here.
Let me land, man.
Right here.
Let
Please,
me land.
can you zoom in on this? Somebody please zoom in. LDEA, 1.5 million right here.
Right here. Zoom. I can.
Okay.
Can I land, please?
1.5 million. Do you see that LDEA?
Can I land, please?
I just use your own source, and it's false.
Madam Kamara, please let Mr. Kamara land.
I would appreciate it if I'm allowed to complete my thought.
Well, go ahead. He's
Thank
just
you.
presenting facts and you are not, but go ahead and talk.
Thank you. So again, I said in my expose that the youth population who do drug or have access to drug are 20%. That is the youth population. So take an entire general population and put it up there. But here is what I would say to you. Okay? My information that I come on the show to give, it's not about emotions or compassion. I only speak the truth. I'm here to politically analyze the issue. And of course, I support Joseph Barker. You can question my intention, you question my patriotism, it's all up to you. But I am telling you that this government is doing a wonderful job against the fight of drug, and we will overall prevail, regardless of how people feel.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara. Thank you very much for giving us no
Joy
facts.
and gladness, when our hearts reach where each other, freedom of the Lord of my peace.
Mike, thank you for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Let's go. Mike, Martin Colley is naming names, and I know he has had his share of, detractors or opposition. I have taken some of his stuff with pinch of salt. The allegation, that he's on the take, whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is, in this particular case, he has brought forth some evidence that I think has been corroborated by the circumstances that are around. All some of the names he's been calling today are out of the government, but there are those who continue to say, that he's making this up, and therefore he should not, he's not credible. I want to also have 1 minute each on this. Should we continue to listen or read Martin Colley, or should we just write him off?
No, I don't believe we can write Martin Colley off. For the simple fact that a majority of the people that have either been arrested, been charged, been relieved of duty, being sent for investigation, are names that have been put out either by Martin Colley, by Rodney Sear, by Stanton Witherspoon, by, people other than the security forces. Besides the actual drug bust and the Ukrainian and Hispanic that was arrested, almost everybody else that has been linked to this has not come from the security force, right? Or Joao Taylor. They've come from regular citizens.
Yeah.
So, of course, I don't think it should. What's funny about Martin Colley is that Monday, Martin Colley will call name or from the opposition camp. All the United Party will be cheering. Tuesday, it will come from somebody from the United Party camp. All the United Party people will be vexed. They'll be calling, they say, Martin must step back, Martin must do this, you don't listen to Martin be compromised. So when he was calling the other people from the past government, that time he was not compromised, So it's really, really fascinating to sit down and watch these two groups continue to tussle over the future of Liberia. And I'm hoping and praying that the Liberian people are watching, because it's a clear indication that it's time for Liberia to move on from these two parties and seek something else, something better, something good. Because I think they're not even good, something good for this country. Seriously.
Talking about that, I'll come on to you, Fanta. I agree with Musa's ability when he says that, Liberia is an abusive relationship with the CDC and the UP, It's just like that woman, the husband is abusing you, but you're still there, These two parties have abused us for over 20 years. So I agree with you. I think our people need to look elsewhere and find an alternative. Right, Mr. Kamara?
No.
But now you think about it, I come to
I already answered you.
I kind of Fanta, do you think Martin Colley, Martin Colley is not alone. Ronnie C is also bringing his share. And, Mr. Costa is also on the other end bringing his disputing, and then there's Mr. Witherspoon and all of that. But I think Martin Colley so far, and Ronnie C. But I think Martin is getting probably the largest share of the doubters and the attacks. Do you think we should still pay attention to Martin Colley?
I think some of the biggest cases that have been solved with independent interventions.
Yeah.
There have been cold cases, like sometimes for years, the police, the government resources like we try to solve, and they just are unable to crack it. So the importance of independent investigators is quite significant, and we should continue to honor them and give them the space to do their work. They are, I would like to suggest that they are doing it they're doing it for love of country. And I think once that is the intention, we should allow space for it. Now, is it that they cannot ever make mistakes? No, absolutely not. When you're doing investigations, even with the seasoned investigators, right, they often run into error. I think when you do come across those roadblocks, come up and say, hey, I made an error here, but it doesn't negate all of the other evidence that you have provided that are factual, right? So those should not be dismissed. It doesn't mean that his credibility should be eroded. Absolutely not. It should mean that we are human, and with the intent and using his resources to create the type of evidence of interest that he has around this case. I think he should absolutely be given the floor to do that, amongst others, right? Because we're all fighting for a better Liberia. Look, nobody enjoys sitting down in another man's house, you crank your foot, you put your foot, or you eating your McDonald's or your Burger King, and you think that you're living life. I want to be at Lake Piso. Are you kidding? I want to be in a kayak on Lake Piso right now. That's what I want. I don't want to be sitting out somewhere in different man country like eating KFC. What does that do for me? We all want a better Liberia. Yeah, we all want a better Liberia. So whoever is taking their individual time to investigate for the sake of Liberia, they should be supported and supported fully. Absolutely. There's no question
Thank
for
you.
that.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara. Do you think Martin Run is here? In fact, do you think we should still pay attention to what they bring forth, or disregard and wait for the government?
Is he a Liberian?
Who?
Martin.
I think he's your better brother. If he's not from Lofa or Bong.
He's a Liberian. So I think no Liberian should be dismissed. I think every Liberian voice matters. You look into it, you pick up the sense, and you drop the none. I think everybody should be heard, including you, even though we know that by our account, everything coming from you will be to put the party under the bus. And you should be doing that because you're in opposition. So we take you a little bit lightly than Martin, who is neutral. Martin is not part of the United Party. Martin is not part of any political party. Martin supported Jose Newman Barkai. And he's under no obligation to continue to support him. Thus far, he has not said that he doesn't support him. But if he sees something that he thinks, kind of flip up something, he'll come up with the evidence. And all we say to Martin is, give us the evidence. And he had done that several times, and there are many times when he really hasn't been able to prove some of the things he said. However, he is a Liberian and he's a stakeholder, so he matters.
Yeah, I appreciate you for that. For once, I think you actually found your voice. you found your voice. So
that's all right.
No,
I've been in the business for so many years now, so I know how to handle people like you.
During the week, Henry Costa went over too. He jumped on the MD at the NPA until the Minnesota state government actually came out and shut some of his business. And then, of course, he jumped on this vehicle thing, and now look where it is going. So I'm glad that, but he's not taking as much, as Martin Colley, as much income as Martin Colley is taking. There's so many people calling for his head. How he's not credible. He's done. He's being paid and all that stuff. But I agree with you. I think we should take what he brings, and evaluate it. And like I said, in this particular instance, in the drug investigation, I think he has proven to be very invaluable. He and Ranisi and all others who have contributed to it. So I think those who are calling for his head, I think they they need to look elsewhere. We'll go on to the last topic, but it's something we don't do here often. Today we'll go over the last topic for a few minutes, and then I'll give everyone a chance to say whatever is on their mind that is not part of the topics that were drawn up today. So the last topic, of course, is going to be the president, the visitor to the university. I think the crisis in the university with the faculty and the administration had come to a head. I think they were calling for. I think they already started a go slow, something with their insurance, with their retirement. All kinds of. It's all about money. And Dr. Mapaya, who many people are now calling my problem, I guess that's the name they're calling her now. I mean, she has tried, but I think she's struggling because she has not been able to bring as far as I know, she hasn't been able to bring in any resources from outside of the budget. And so she has depended heavily on the budget, and the budget, whatever is appropriate is not forthcoming. She has struggled a lot. I think Segu Douglas we just talked about. I think he led a fund drive here recently. I think they were trying to raise $1 million because she started with so many problems, but yet she's doing her best. But let's talk about this a little bit. The faculty union. I think there's something about pay and the retirement, and I think Dr. Lester Tanning, in the middle of all this, didn't resign his position as vice president for finance. He's going back into the classroom. I listened to his podcast. He said he's going back into the classroom. He has accomplished the task. I think he said 179 people now will be removed from the payroll or something like that. So I'll start with you, Mike. Is Dr. Mamprayan, is she really like a hamster here, just spinning her wheel in a little basket, or do we think we're finally going to make progress? I understand the president has intervened the visitor university, that messianic approach, everybody is having problems, and then you come in and save the day, but Mr. Waka was vice president for 12 years. He knows the problem with the other university. Like, he doesn't put much money in the budget. They got $200 million from Metal. All of them got increases to the allowances. Kofa Kun speaker is having a good time because he got so much money. He know what to do with it. Whereas the university is left unattended. So, Mike, what do you think here, Dr. Member? Is it just a sacrificial lamb here? The president just came to and to the rescue, or do you think we finally are finding a way to resolve the problems at the university?
No, I do think it's temporary. I think it's a temporary band-aid. I don't think it's going to go anywhere because in the end, the problem with university is money. It's not about it's not about what you want to say it. It's not about coordination. It's not about willpower. It's about money. You want to solve the university problem? Bring money. Okay? And the president has not offered any money. They're tossing about $6 million. Anybody looking at a university will tell you $6 million is not going to do anything for that university. You need at least about $200 million to actually turn that university into where it needs to be. And somebody asking for $200 million, and you giving them $6 million. Somebody asking for $200, right, to fix your roof,
right,
and you getting $6. What do you think is going to happen? And then the president now come in, and say, "Oh, well, I will fix it." Out of utter respect, people will not, challenge the president. But as soon as that meeting is over, when they go back to school, guess what's going to happen? There, everything will check again, and we'll be back to square one. And that's what's going to happen at the University of Liberia. The president did not offer any funding. He did not offer any improved funding. He did not direct his finance minister to find some money.
right.
That my point, she's trying. Those things take time. You have to build relationships. Nobody just going to hand you money 1 year after you come into office. Nobody going to hand you money. You have to build relationships with others, other places. And then based on the relationships, you will start to receive some grants and some other gratitudes. But she's in a hard place. People told her before she took the job, it was a very difficult job that she was getting. It was thankless. you know, and she embraced it. More power to her. But it is what it is right now, you know, and the government is doing nothing to help. And I give it 60 days, and we'll be back here. 60 days.
Fanta, to Mike's point, there are a lot of us who felt that yes, she was aware of the problems coming in, but because her CV, according to her CV, she had a lot of experience with fundraising. And we said it. We said if she would succeed, she has to go out there and fundraise on her own. She cannot depend on the government. But I think she's been here. She's been in a year or two now or so. But we don't see any significant funding coming in from outside of the government's budget. Do you think she's going to solve this, or like Mike is suggesting, we'll be right back here again next year? Because this is a one-shot deal that we don't even know where he got the money from because it's not in the budget. So
we'll be right back here tomorrow. I've been doing some research into the history of UL funding, and when you look at, say, for the last 3 years or the last 4 years, it's been I think 1.33 million, and then one of the representatives pushed for it to become like 45 million. Did they actually get all of that? Probably not. And then Maprion comes in, and I think they land somewhere around like 44 million, where 6 million was supposed to be disbursed for infrastructure rehabilitation. The current status of the university is beyond dilapidated. You talk about backed up sewages where the children are in class or the students are in class and they're having to deal with the stinkiness of everyone's poop. I don't know how else to put this. The poo-poo water, the poo-poo scent. I think the poo-poo scent at the University of Liberia beats that of Center Street. Okay, it beats that of Benson Street. The university, oldest university in Liberia. This is what they have to deal with. And every single year, money gets allocated. The full allocation is never received, from what I've understood. They will allocate 33 million, and maybe if the university administration is lucky, they get like 20 million or like 20 million.
Let me ask you this, right? And if you don't have the answer, I will understand, because we're all trying to figure. Why do you think she has not gone outside of the university to fundraise? I mean, somebody suggested somewhere that, for instance, she could probably have something attached to the license plate, like they do here, the conservation.
Yeah, everything that glitter is not gold.
Okay.
Joseph Boga saw a Liberian man with a fine wet girl, and they said, "Oh, the girl pretty, she can use her pretty face to get money." That's not how it works. It takes innovation. It takes leadership. Yeah. I think number one, she was set up for failure, and number two, she set herself up for failure. Because instead of her focusing on fundraising, she plotting American plot. Like, I don't understand. Can you focus on the job that you were hired to do? You were thrown into the pit of the fire. You should be tying on tennis shoes and jean tracé and be rolling up your sleeve to figure out how to solve the problem. You shouldn't be passing around in here and micro braids. Look, it's not rocket science. Oftentimes, the reason why the solutions to some of these problems that are deemed complex never make it to actually the resolution phase is because the people who sits at the top are not either motivated enough to solve it, or they don't have the ability, right? They don't have the implementative ability to actually draft a plan, stick to it, and actually have it executed. It doesn't take a lot. It's not rocket science. First, if I was appointed president of the university, sure, what I will do, I will look at the alumni, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's any time here to meet them. I don't think so.
Yeah, let me not go out there to the UN like those elaborate big dreams. Just how you have the St. Teresa Convent alumni, and you have the B.W. Harris alumni, where they raise thousands of dollars, even at 30,000, 50,000, like 100,000. Look at the alumni of the University of Liberia. I'm sure they are all over the world doing very well for themselves. Even if you say annually, you would charge each alumni 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000. You think they wouldn't want to say, damn, this is our university. Like, we graduated from here. Some pride to us. You think you can't even, within no time, raise hundreds, if not millions of dollars? That's one strategy that universities here leverage to raise money. We're not going outside. We stay within the university ecosystem. You look at gears. University of Liberia t-shirts, University of Liberia baseball caps, University of Liberia sweaters. To produce it in China is like $10. You can sell it for $25. You don't think you can do that? That's not rocket science. You can raise money there. You look at backpacks, other things that you go to your Harvard or any university, they have bookstores, they have gift shops for a reason. They use that money to contribute towards infrastructure development for the universities. You have engineering students, yet you have engineering problems that you're going to seek a Ghanaian or an Indian to come and fix. You don't think you have funding students at the university to fix the sewage backup problem? You don't have engineering students who know how to handle nail and hammer to stop the leaky roof? You don't have those? When I saw some of the photos of how the students have to learn, they're sitting on the floor, number one. The cement floor has been eating. So now you're getting into the materials like the sand. They're sitting there on one side. In the middle of the classroom is a puddle of water because the zinc is leaking. The building is infested with mold. They can't even use the bathroom because the pool water is flowing all on the floor. You don't need elaborate solutions for these.
And among other people, the current minister of finance is a graduate of that university.
Look at that. And he makes millions of dollars every year. But it's only good enough for him to buy plenty of chicken to grow his gut. Like, I don't understand.
Thank you, Mother.
What are we doing?
Alio.
Yes, sir.
They just posted in the chat room. Apparently, Dr. Tenny's resignation has been accepted by the president of the university. She has appointed Mr. Toga Gibson, I think the controller, to also act as VP of Finance until I get the board can, appoint somebody. What do you think is going to happen here? The president has intervened, so apparently he has saved the day. But many of us believe, because the way he's solving the problem is not institutionalized. It's
Can
not
I
in the
just ask
budget.
really quickly? So sorry. I saw an interview from her that she did with ELBC, where she said the 6 million, the stage that they're currently at, they're vetting contractors and like what have you. And it sounded like she was looking at external contractors. Like, it doesn't matter if President Barker threw a $10 million at this problem.
Right.
The fact that she can't still think about domestic solutions, creative solutions to solve it. It's not going anywhere. So money is not the problem. Leadership.
It's a drop in the bucket. So, Alio, why there doesn't seem to be outside funding coming in? I mean, let's Fanda just mentioned. I don't think she has even engaged the University of Liberia Alumni Association. There are a lot of wealthy people who graduated from the university, some in Liberia and some, overseas. She continues to depend on the government for help. The government is strapped, they themselves, they're struggling. So what do you think here? How do you think this problem can be resolved?
One time crab came from under the river and butter with spring frog, and spring frog going the direction where frog was coming from, where crab was coming from. And he asked crab, "What's going on under there?" Crab said, "The thing I see under there, I can't even describe it. It's not easy." But spring frog didn't pay attention. He passed by crab and went in there and never came back. So sometimes it's easy for us to sit on the surface and just provide solutions. that before you provide solutions, you have to have a total understanding of the cost. And I think Dr. Mapaya was one of those people who was zealous for all intended purpose. And she got in there, she has seen that what she thought was easy on the surface, like most of us analyze, it is deeper than even the eye can see. But in any case, the government in the last 2 years have brought the University of Liberia allocation up to $40 million. Prior, it was 15 and it was 30 under George Weah. Now it's at 40. Is it financial issue? Is the problem financial? What is the cause of this problem? Mind you, now the 6 million we're talking about is outside of the allocation, the University of Liberia budget. This is extra money that the Ministry of Finance
the problem she's having is, even the money that is being allotted, as small as it is, you heard what Michael said, maybe around 200 million you would need, or let's say 150 million. In that order, for 40 million, not, but then even then, the money is not coming like it's supposed to.
Okay, so that is again, the government is saying that is not true. And sometimes on this platform, we gotta make sure to find ways.
So then what is it? The president acknowledged that 40 million is not sufficient, that why he giving the 6, or he knew the money coming, that why he giving the 6 million.
Excuse me.
Your excuse, go ahead.
We need to find ways to get in touch with the newsmakers as opposed to running with what we hear and what we assume. Now, if let's just say the money is small, they gave you money in 2025 to renovate the bathroom. Why didn't you renovate the bathroom? All right, Joshua took that thing from 15 to 30 some mile. Is there any single change out of the 30 million? Joseph Burger has brought it up to 40. Is there any change?
Yes, there's change.
What's the change?
Salaries. 90% of the budget is salary.
Okay, so now you're getting to understand to some extent the cost. Again, we have to go to the cost of this issue. You understand what I'm saying? If you put 10 million over there, 100 million over there, and the staffs are increasing their benefits and salaries every time there's an increment in the budget. Remember, some of them were being paid $700, $800, and $1,000. Those who were being paid $1,000 are now making $1,800. The more the government increases their allocation, the more they increase their salaries. So the problem is also management issue. Somebody is signing up to this salary increment, and that is the president of the university. So I don't think the problem is money, because the more money they get, the more money they want. So the president decided, okay, since this is the case, we will give you an extra of 6 million so that you can do this little touching, and we will come with more. But the government has to get in. The president has to get in and put a cap on these people's salaries. Because if by 2027 you put your money up to 50 million, they will go up by another $300 or $400 on their salary. That's how they behave there. So I think you must have people who really want to serve in that position, as opposed to people who are going for the eat. And the problem is deeper than just the way we see it. Mapaya should have had a connection, outside connection, with other universities before she even applied for this job. So one would assume that, given the fact that she came up with chest high, saying that she is qualified for this position and she can move the University of Liberia from one direction to another, the president was assured that this woman must have the connection necessary to do this job, because almost all universities have other ways to make money. She has not come up with anything. But I also understand that there is a cultural, issue here. This University of Liberia we are talking about, the students are more than belligerents. This is a university that has 3-4 political parties. Anytime they're ready, the entire school has to close down. Those who are not part of their political activities have to stop going to school because they say
so. They're president ban politics on the campus.
And I think, yes.
Why don't you call why don't you call on Joseph Boyka
But there
to
you
ban
go. That's
politics?
your problem. The reason why Joseph Booker appoints people there is because he does not have to micromanage. He doesn't have to run everything all by himself. That's why he sent people over there. If you come up with ideas that he finds prudent for the growth of our youth, he will endorse it. So we're still looking for the solution of this problem. And we got to together find an amicable way to find this thing and not politicize it. Joseph Boyka cannot run all agencies in the country as Joseph Boyka. That's why he appoints people.
You finish?
You're rushing, so go ahead. Let me see what you got. Yeah.
Go
Mike,
ahead.
when you're done with where you're coming to, I want you to start the next one, which is, whatever is on your mind.
Our
We
stuff?
just
Okay.
the topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very, very quickly, yeah. So a couple of things. The first, as you see, I have my t-shirt. I'm an alumnus of the University of Liberia. I'm also a part of the Alumni Association. We have been working with Dr. Mapaya. So Dr. Mapaya has engaged the Alumni Association, and they are working together to figure some things out. So let me make that, at least the Alumni Association in the Americas, because there are different ones across the world. There's one in Europe, there's one in Africa, there's one in Liberia, Sese. So let me just state that the University of Liberia Alumni Association in the Americas have been engaging with Dr. Mapaya and the UL administration on some things, some projects they can work together. First thing. The second thing is that you guys stated that the finance minister is a graduate of the University of Liberia. The president of Liberia is a graduate of the University of Liberia. So let's just crown the king right there, okay? And what has he done? Look, third thing is, look, that's the way Mr. Kamara tried to explain the budget is not how the budget works. The University of Liberia does not just get a lump sum of money for them to do
I
with
didn't
it as
say
they
that.
please. He stated that every time Joseph Boyka increased the budget, the University of Liberia take the money and pay salaries with it. That's not how the budget is approved. That's not how
You didn't
it works.
understand me. Do you need clarification?
Okay? So the way the budget that
Mr. Kamara, let Mr. Pablo
signs
finish.
on.
No, just asking, does he need clarification?
No, I don't need,
let
I
him.
heard you. I don't need clarification.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
stated that every time the University of Liberia budget is increased, they take the money and they give it to
No, I didn't.
teachers.
Does that mean that they can take the whole money?
And they are increasing their pay by $300, $400. And if Joseph Boyka even add another 10 million on top of it, they will take that money and you'll see their salary going up by 3, 4. They're already underpaid. That's the first thing. The second thing is that that's not how the budget works. When Joseph Boyka signs that budget, there are line items. What's for salary is for salary. What is for infrastructure is for infrastructure. That's why the president was able to make sure in the budget there was $6.3 million for infrastructure. And they cannot take that money from on that line item and put it on anywhere else without the approval of the national legislature. It's law. So please stop misinforming the people. The fact of the matter is, the reason why they increase the budget of the university time and time again is because people are underpaid and they're afraid for these people to strike and for students to go on their strike and all the crazy politics that they play. So they put money in the budget to increase the salary. They have not put money in the budget for other things like infrastructure, for supplies, for instruction. They have not put money in there. So that's the third thing that I wanted to clarify. Okay. Now, for a thing I wanted to talk about. Okay. And this is what I want to talk about. Look, I want to bring us back to this drug issue.
Just before you get to the drug issue, you said that you guys are meeting with Dr. Mapaya. What are some of the things? Can you share? And if not, that's fine. Can you share what are some of the suggestions the University of Liberia alumni in the United States have suggested to the leadership, and are they considering it or not?
Well, okay. So the first thing we did was that we engaged the university administration, and we asked them what were their needs. That was the first thing. We didn't come and impose our needs on them. We asked them what were their needs, okay? And they started listing the needs, and then we said, well, prioritize it because we can solve all the problems, okay? And so we've been talking a lot about infrastructure, all right? So then what we've asked for is an analysis, or what you might call I'm missing a word. We told them to go do their homework. Let's say, for example, you say, okay, I want a science building renovated. Okay, how much is that going to cost? What is it going to take? What kind of, break it down for us, because you see, the Alumni Association money does not create money. The money that the Alumni Association has is money that has been entrusted to it by individuals. And the Alumni Association has to be accountable of that. So we're saying we're willing to help, but we need for you to do your homework. And your homework is to bring us the information so that we can make a sound decision. And that is where...
So sorry, just specifically, which project did you undertake? The science building, the bathroom?
They have not done their parts. That's where they have failed. And I'll be clear to tell you, that's where the university administration has faltered. They have not been able to produce that information, or that information to the university alumni for them to make a decision on what to do. And because of that, they have not spent any money on that. And that is where the deadlock is right now.
Okay, thank you.
So that's where it is. Now, concerning the drug thing, really quickly, yeah?
Yeah, 1 minute.
The fight that everybody is talking about concerning drug, is not the drug that is killing Liberians. It's not the drug that is suffering our youth. The drug that Liberians are taking, that we are talking about 20%, is Kush. Kush. There is no fight on Kush. The fight that Gregory Coleman is running here is the exportation or the transshipment of cocaine. Okay? That fight is the fight that there is nothing being done to relieve the drug epidemic in Liberia amongst the youth. And it seems like we are losing sight of that because the United Party keep running with this political ideology that we're fighting the war on drugs. The war that you are fighting on the drug that you are fighting is for the Europeans. It's for the Americans. It's to save their children. It's not to save Liberian children. And until we start to focus on saving Liberian children, we have not begun the war on
man,
drugs.
let me come in there 10 seconds.
Wait now. Why so impatient?
Okay, we have not started. And we need to keep that in the focus. That's what needs to be the focus here.
Thank you, man.
Joseph Boyka did not take the oath of office to protect and serve the European children, the European people, or the American people. He did it for Liberia and Liberians. And he needs to refocus his
Mr. Nangwe, this is one of the reasons why these guys will not go up to 2%.
No problem.
Let me give me 10 seconds.
Wait. You're not a moderator. Wait.
Okay,
First
go
of
ahead.
all, you get late, so you go last.
No problem.
So,
go ahead.
Thank you very much. Sit down in time out.
No, please have him go. No, please. I'm enjoying this.
All right, I'll go. Fanda, I'll let you go. Go, she will be last.
Okay. This guy.
What's on your mind? 1 minute. 1 minute.
Oh, again? This guy.
We're done.
This guy intentionally misrepresented what I said. I guess he's still sitting over there yelling like somebody got fire on him. But let me tell you something. One of the reasons why today Lester had to resign is because he stood up to the status quo at the University of Liberia. One of the two things that got him where he is. He had to remove some people from the payroll because the payroll was too crowded. Some people were working other places and coming to the University of Liberia, and the time they were putting in wasn't even sufficient. And they too were getting paid handsomely. And not only that, Lester said the University of Liberia faculty doubled their pay almost twice, what our double means. Okay, people were making 700, 800, and it went up to 1,800. That's one of the things he challenged. So to say here that people at the University of Liberia cannot increase their pay, you're making a mistake. You know, University of Liberia operates independently. Even though they're under government, they still operate independently. so they can determine what their wages are, what their salaries are. They can fix it. And they'll send it through for approval through the Ministry of Finance. So I wasn't telling you to make that kind of layman argument that, oh, when the government says the allocation is 40 million, they can just take the whole 40 million in one suitcase and carry the LU campus. I mean, some things just simply imply. When I say they're taking the money for salary and other benefits, it doesn't mean it's in one bag and they're carrying it in there. You understand what I'm saying? And by the way, the information you're giving out here that the Liberian government only focuses on a transnational drug trade, that information is wrong, and the people watching you know you're wrong. But we'll see you 2029, give you less than 1% again.
Fanta, what's on your mind? Or anything you don't necessarily have to, but you're closing 1 minute.
Yeah, something that's been going on this week, and I think it hasn't gotten the level of coverage that it really should. I think we've been really focused on the drug crisis, and rightfully so. As I mentioned, Liberia is infested with a lot of deviant acts. One of them being the one that is noted, sexual violence amongst children. The sodomy case of Peter Bonjala and the 14-year-old boy is currently on trial. I don't think any of us have been paying attention to that or giving that case the level of attention that it deserves. Peter Bonjala, a high-level senior NSA official, gang sodomized a 14, 15-year-old boy up to the point of death and dropped his body on the beach behind NASCORP. I want to remind everyone of that. That little boy was inches from death. The anticipation was that the Atlantic Ocean, as strong as it is, was going to wash his body away and there would be no case. As God could have it, his body was discovered by a security officer who alerted the family, and God is able to continue to restore him. This happened in January of 2026. We're in August. The trial is underway. The first day, they put this little boy who should have been protected in all means, shape, and form. They put him through such extraneous condition at the Temple of Justice, questioning him, literally torturing him, where the defendant was like, we have 100 questions. We will ask you today. Everything you will tell how the mayor sodomized you. Why you know the mayor for 100 questions? They announced that in the court. It got to a point where the two councils got into a physical fight. It blows my mind why this haven't come up in the news. The two opposing councils got into a physical fight in the courtroom because of how much Peter Bonjala, lawyer, was harassing this minor. Okay, this minor who has already been traumatized with 3 grown men. 2 of the men, the LNP claim they cannot find. They ran away when the case happened. And we have since learned that they're in the US. Okay, this trial is happening and they're threatening the family constantly. Oh, why can't you just take money? When our money you want, we'll give it to you. Because they know the family is poor. They don't expect them to have a voice. They don't expect anyone to advocate for them. As I said, whenever chance I get, I add my voice to this case because it's so important. This case should be, you mentioned earlier, Mr. Patmore, that these are landmark cases. This case should be a landmark case. This case should set the precedent that no child, if Liberia does not have a anti-child sexual violation law or act, it should be implemented based on this case or from this case. Elsewhere, other countries do that, where when a child is violently violated, they create laws and acts in their honor to make sure that no other child, no other minor have to experience the same thing. Yes, I know we have rape laws, but this one is just crazy. In the way in which they're coming after the family and threatening the family is part of the reason why I'm bringing this back to the forefront. The trial is ongoing. Let's not once again allow a high-level senior governmental official to walk away scot-free without facing the full brunt of the law. Peter Bonjala should rot behind jail, should rot in a jail cell for this gang sodomy, the gang sodomy of this 15-year-old boy. I also want to just touch really quickly on the type of drugs that are impacting Liberians. From marijuana being grown in the rural area, so marijuana is being grown in Nimba, it's being grown in Lofa, it's being grown in Grand Jide. Liberians are abusing marijuana. The kush that's coming from the border from Sierra Leone is also increasingly being used among Liberians. Now you talk about cocaine and crack. Liberians are becoming more and more addicted to cocaine and crack today. You wonder, and the elites keep giving this excuse, the facilitators of the drug trade. Oh, we were just facilitating for the drug cartels to use Liberia as a transit point. The idiots didn't think that there are also drug dealers here in Liberia who will go and steal part of that cocaine to sell it on the local market. And that's what they did. Crack and cocaine is being sold in Liberia for 50 cents. 50 lewate. So it's been abused. Also, heroin is being abused in Liberia. Heroin is being abused. Maybe that's among like the older Liberians, but that's currently being abused in Liberia. So let's add that to the list as well. And then prescription opiates, the tramadols of the world. You constantly see how the LDA arrest people coming in from Sierra Leone or Guinea with thousands of tramadol. So that's the prescription opiates. All of these drugs are being abused in Liberia today. So when we talk about the drug crisis, it is quite extensive, and we should really pay attention to that.
Thank you, Fanta. Thank you very much. I will take less than 1 minute on what's on my mind. The CMC has come out to tell the president not to declare that he will not run for 2029. First of all, with all due respect to his age, he's 84 now. He will be about 90 by the time he's inaugurated. If he's elected, he'll be 91. There are physical challenges associated with being president, and we think he should make that declaration. Once he does that too, we think it will divest him of all of these problems he's worrying about, to being politically correct and all of that, and pay attention to running the country. I think the people around him, these hangers on, these parasites, most of them know they will never be elected by anybody. They come and hang on the president, and I think they are the ones who are giving him all this heading. Once he does that, those who want to run, let him lead the government. And those who are committed to helping him, preserve his legacy, let him stay with him and run the country for the next 3 years. So we're calling on the president to think seriously about this. Running for re-election is not in his interest. But it's been a great show. I want to thank you all very much.
I'm not on a statement you say.
You already did. You find out.
I was responding to that man.
All right, go ahead.
You agree? You started off to go ahead, you sure?
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so listen. Whatever campaign you're on, so that you guys can have some opportunity in the next election.
What on your mind, or you gonna react to what?
But I say, well, my man, you fail. Joseph Burger will be 82 in November. It will not be 91 in whatever time you're talking about. However, the decision for Joe Burger to run is only with Joe Burger, not with the CMC. So I wanted to also buttress Fanta's statement about the little boy who was sodomized. Yes, Fanta, we have some very strong laws on the book, including life imprisonment. Moreover, deviant sexual activity under Liberian law is a crime, and homosexuality generally is a crime under Liberian law. And now to talk about sodomizing someone. So, and as far as the lawyer goes, you can't take them personally. That's their job. They're coming to win a case. That's why they go to court. So they will do.
Freemasons are homosexuals. Most of your Freemasons are homosexuals. So, like, why have they not been prosecuted?
But see, we have to have evidence, my sister. We have to have evidence.
Okay.
Shots fired.
We can't just say they were. We can't just say they were homosexuals. We don't have anything. You gotta show us.
You got Mike preaching because Mike is a Freemason. You know that.
Come on, Mr. Kamara. Homosexuality is not a crime in Liberia.
No, you don't know the law.
I know the law.
No, you don't.
You don't know the law.
It's under deviant sexual activity. That's what it's called.
Homosexuality is the only thing that is a what you call a crime in Liberia is sodomy. Not homosexuality.
Then it's include this in your topic tonight. Yeah, they gotta bother with the law.
Okay. and I will post it in the chat. And you will not post your own because you will not find it. I've looked.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
But I want to thank you. Ali, you're done, right?
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you for having me, and I will look forward to being back here on next week, Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, as you watch deviant sexual activity. That's what the law said, 1973. So thank you so much, and we will be back here on Sunday.
Mike, thanks for hosting. Fanda, thank you so much for joining us. Elliot, thank you very much. Yeah, like you said, thank you also to our audience. They've been very interactive tonight. I hope to be back here with you again on next Sunday. Have a good night.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Liberia.